Welcome everyone to something unusual for the channel, a Lightless Reads. This is probably going to be a very irregular series, but we decided to do just this because I think it's very important for the mythos of Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah.
Anyway though, this is going to be a read of a side story that is not mentioned at all in the game. Quite frankly, it's very hard to find on the internet as well. But here we are. If you've ever wondered on how Fiora actually got her mom's body back, you can find this story written in the official Xenoblade Monado archives. Again, released in Japan and France. This is a translation luckily given to us by Dilly Shilly on Blogspot. Link in the description should you want to have a read for it yourself. But we are going to be reading it verbatim, so let's get on with it. And before we begin, I would highly recommend you find yourself a copy of the Monado archive because it contains other side stories as well as interesting images and little tidbits here and there. But I digress. So let's get started. White clouds. No. A Xenoblade episode. At home. The Bionis has awoken, and the Telephi are threatening the other world. This is a secret episode that decides the future of Fiora, who has taken the Monado of Mayneth, as well as the rest of her companions. The world of the Bionis. It is a land that spreads across the vast corpse of a humongous god. Along the leg of this god, a colony has been built, one of the last in existence. Colony 9. The home of one of the few refugees left for the steady decreasing Homs people. It is said once long ago there were 10 colonies. They fell to the machine god's army sometime in the distant past, at we all but forgot. Colony 9 has survived longer than the others because of its one advantage, its great distance from the world of the Mechonis. Colony 9 was built to live peacefully despite the attacks happening above them. For those living in Colony 9, this is a home that could have never been replaced. Yo, you got a minute? Dean asked. He was a researcher who was 10 years Shulk Senior. It's roughly translated, so give me a break, essentially. Shulk had been working on his project at the military research center on Colony 9 when Dean had decided, as always, that he needed Shulk's advice. He always needed advice. There was some widow he was half in love with. That seemed to be all he thought about. We're not going to say who, but she likes cabbages. Despite Shulk's long absence, he returned to find Dean to be the exact same he had left him. Not that I really know anything about this sort of thing myself. Shulk thought with a sigh. Dean was in the middle of saying something, and for the start, Shulk realized he hadn't been paying attention. Sounds like Shulk to me. Not that Dean seemed to notice. He just went on about his problems as usual. Shulk liked him, and he was a senior researcher, so he decided to help him as best he could. I'll do what I can. It was such a small thing that he wanted. Shulk had already been through caves filled with monsters, petted Headley Bionis and back several times. What was all that to this? It was nothing at all to help him get what he wanted. I'm glad I could help you. Need anything else? Dean shook his head, smiling. He was such a serious person. Never make jokes like the other people Shulk knew, but he was a person with a good heart. Climbing the stairs of the research center, Shulk walked out into the military district plaza. It was already evening. Another day had gone by and he hadn't found a hint of what he was looking for. Not because of Dean's little request, that had nothing to do with it. It would be easier to capture a dream upon waking there and find what he'd hoped to find. Though I don't think Leonardo is wrong, he thought. He cut across the plaza, his thoughts hazy and muddled. It was at that time of evening when those who worked during the day were rushing home, and the soldiers on watch at night were heading out to their posts. The feelings brought up felt so familiar. Joe felt he had wandered back into the past. The war against McConnell's army had been occurring since time before history. It wasn't too long ago the colony line was nothing but a base of operations somewhere they could return to. All the action would happen alongside the salt plains. When the McConnell soldiers attacked, they would head out to meet them. On occasion, it is said, the McConnell soldiers even made as far as the Guar plains, but never, ever had they reached Colony 9. Such peace could have never been forever. They had a year of peace, however, after the last attack, 1 full year before Colony 6 fell to the swarms of Mekon. Those machines continued on, nearly taking their own colony, except for that had been the start of their journey. Now, Colony 9 was preparing for the battle against the Telethia. Their great wings tear the sky. Attack before you could even draw your sword. Their entire existence was to serve the Bionis, to reap the lives that live on that world. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Day and night they readied themselves for battle, but life continued on as always in the colony. It wasn't the same peaceful life as they had led before, but no longer would they allow themselves to be ruled by fear. Everyone's changing. It had to become so much stronger, Shulk thought to himself, and watching the people pass by. They all had to change, strengthen their minds and bodies, and their hearts. Tension still vibrated through the air, but life continued on as usual. It was one less thing Shulk had to worry about. But soon, they would be heading to the inside of the Bionis to meet the god head on. There would be no escape. They'd either win or die. They had decided then to leave behind no regrets, to do what they had to do before they met their final fate. Shulk needed to give the information he had gathered on a journey to his fellow researchers in the colony. The people who had lived on Mechonis, the Machina, but had technology they had never seen before. The Monado replica, if the Homs had that, it would give the armies incredible power. Dean had been pleasantly surprised and had gladly began researching the day the show could board him. His expertise had not always been in the cabbage rolls. There was just one thing left. One more thing the Shulk had to do. A small hope for the future that the Machina Dr. Leonardo had given him. It was only a slim chance, but he desperately wanted it to come true. This was something different from the Monado replica. Something he hadn't told anyone about. Passing through the central plaza, Shulk headed towards the residential district. He saw the artist, Kenny Rohan, and waved a greeting, but Kenny seemed not to see him. Sesame had a sleepy look on him and didn't seem to recognize him. The shops that had opened at night were already open. As Shulk walked near the entrance of the colony, near the bridge that opened out into the wildlands, was Dunban and Fior's home. Dunban had chosen that spot, so he could be the first on the front lines when the enemy struck. Shulk put his hand on the door and smiled. He had been here so often since he was a child. It was like another home to him. Looking at the bright light shining out through at the window, he went inside. Chapter 2. Fior's cooking was excellent. While the food she had made along their journey had been quite good, when she had her own kitchen to work with, her cooking turned into something else entirely. Shulk watched her, smiling, as she made her delicious meal. Long ago, there had always been visitors to Dunban's house. Shulk and Ryan had, of course, always been there to visit Fiora, but there had been many other visitors as well. Dunban's war buddies, Mumcar and Dixon, the Defense Force Chief Vandom, and his underling Cans were all frequent guests. Half Dunban had been injured in the war at Salt Valley a year ago. His guests had been less frequent. and the visits less joyous. Many days and months had passed since then, and now those who sat around the table were the companions they had met on their journey. They were laughing and talking, arguing and shouting. But dumb man Shulk, it was like those old days were back again. The food was placed on the table. Don't you dare take that, old man.
You've had plenty already, Ryan. If I don't eat enough, I'll get all dizzy.
Ricky complained, while stealing a large chunk of veggie aubergines from everyone to Ryan's nose. Dumb man sighed. A little tidbit? There's a little image for that too. I can't imagine where you put all that in your tiny body. Ryan lunged at Ricky, but before any damage could occur, Charlotte slapped them both on the back of the head.
I think the two of you need a cool down.
Melia decided it would be best to ignore them all and turn towards the counter.
I'm sorry to rush you like this, but we ought to give them the next plate of food right away.
She picked up the plate of food Fiora had just set down.
Wait.
Fiora said, not taking her eyes off the food she was cooking.
That bowl of stew is for you. I'm going to give Ryan and Ricky their portions in a moment, so don't worry about that. You do not have to worry on my account. I'm not the one who's desperate for food. No, I mean, I left that one aside for you before I put in the spicy cabbage for Ryan.
It was true. Melia wasn't too fond of spicy cabbage. When she was small, she wasn't allowed to be picky about the food she ate. She was told that it would be an embarrassment to the royal family if she were to refuse the food the people had offered her. When Ryan had shared some of her angora plain, she hadn't eaten all of it without complaint. She knew that Ryan hadn't meant anything by it. He had just wanted to share it with her, although after she had tried the hardest chunk down the cabbage, Ryan had given her another piece of a huge smile on his face. She had felt a bit murderous then.
I didn't need to? No, that's not... Thank you. Oh, being honest now. Good. I like it when you say that you're really thinking.
Melia wasn't sure how to feel about it. While it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, she had been raised as a high-end to never say discreetly how she really felt. It was difficult to get used to. Fiora smiled at her. She always said exactly what she thought and felt.
Perhaps.
Nelly thought.
I could be like that too.
But could she?
Alright, here's your share, you gluttons. I put in some sweet wasabi, as well as bits of salmon and tuna. Enjoy!
Ryan and Ricky's eyes lit up.
Fiora, I love you. Oh, I'll let you rub me later.
They had no problem getting along as there were enough food for the two of them. All of the sounds were drowned out by the chorus of the racks eating.
Melia, you should eat yours before it gets cold. Right.
Melia took her plate and sat at the table. Then she took a bite.
This is delicious.
The stew, minus spicy cabbage, was more enough even for the taste buds of Hyentia. For the first time in Melia didn't know how long, the food she ate was truly delicious. Chapter 3. Melia woke up with a start. Someone was crying in pain. The evil light glimmered in the darkness through the window. The night was still young. Fiora's room was on the first floor of the house. Places had been set on the floor for Melia and Charlotte, and the three of them all slept there. Charlotte slept peacefully beside her. The one who was in pain was Fiora. Pushing herself out of bed, Melia went to Fiora's side.
She looks like she's in so much pain tonight,
she thought. It's been like this for days. There was nothing anyone could do for her. She wasn't sick, nor feverish. Melia didn't even wipe the sweat from her brow. It was some problem with her mechanical body. The only one who might know what it would be Lenada. It made Melia feel powerless. There was nothing at all that she could do for a friend. It made her feel desperate. She wanted to destroy something. Then, outside, she saw a familiar shadow beneath her window, Shulk, who she thought was already asleep.
Where could he be going at this time of night?
She felt anger boiling up inside her. She knew it was unreasonable, but she needed someone to blame. Here she was holding Fiora's hand night after night while she screams in pain. But what could he possibly be doing that was so more important than this? Wasn't this his job? Melly knew deep down that it wouldn't matter whether it was her hand or his. And neither would magically cure her. It didn't matter. She just didn't care. Melly buckled on her armor as quickly as she could. Whether to leave you out there waiting to attack, you could never be too prepared. He was headed towards the research center. It only made sense that that was where he spent all of his time these days. She dashed out the door and after him. Following behind him, Melly didn't even need to take precautions about being seen. He was so intent on his destination, he didn't even realize she was there. Soon, he reached his researching room, and he began searching around the bookshelves, riffling through some old documents. Several papers were then scattered all over the room. Must be continuing some research he had started earlier in the day. Shulk was a boy who took his responsibilities seriously. He always had to do what he felt was right. It was because of that Melly herself was still alive. His another replica project would save countless more people. Still, Melly wanted to say to him,
It's wonderful that you want to save so many people, but there's someone special to you that lies in pain every night.
Melly was angry, very angry. Shulk didn't notice that she was there, standing in the doorway. His mind was filled with thoughts of the regeneration device. The Regeneration Chamber. Leonardo had told him about it. It was an ancient high-end technology. Anyone who might know the details of this machine had been long turned to dust. And yet, this was their only hope to save Fiora. If even the Machina didn't know enough about the device to reconstruct it, they had to hope that there was one left somewhere in the giant god world, still operational. He wanted to believe her. He had to. He began searching in secret for any tiny scrap of information he could to find the machine. There may have been something of the machine written in the reports. Every day while he worked on a replica project, he searched through the mountain of books and documents he had of any small hope. Unfortunately for Shulk, Melly had no idea of any thoughts running through his mind.
What are you doing here?
Melia! Shulk jumped in surprise. He lost his balance, falling on top of Melia. Then, decades worth of piled up papers and books cascaded down upon them at their heads. Look out! Shulk yelled, throwing up his arms to protect Melia from the avalanche that was about to fall on them. And then, Melia faced a recognition device and spoke.
With the power passed down to me from my royal family, I ordered you to let us pass.
The man turned his face away. He didn't want anyone to see his tears. It seems I have you to thank again. Ryan was smiling. Leave it to me. I'll protect Shulk until we finish this. I'll promise. Leonardo offered her encouragement.
This is the right decision for you to make. Enter the chamber.
Fiora smiled. Her decision made.
Shulk, are you alright?
The colours of the world slowly filtered back into place. Emre sat in front of him, her eyes full of tears. Melia, when... He stopped and looked. His research room. Papers and books scattered everywhere. Then he knew. His consciousness had just returned from a short trip to the future. Yes, of course. He saw that Melia had realized it too, when he had protected her. It had caused a special power to activate.
You saw it then? The future?
Shulk nodded, then explained what he saw. It was a vision of the Regeneration Chamber. Fiora had stood before it, surrounded by all her friends. Melia had opened the door to the room that contained the device.
You mean, that is what you have been looking for all this time?
Yes. I knew it had to be somewhere. I know where it is now. We can help her. We can give Fiora her body back.
Then you mean...
Her voice wavered, her eyes bright. It's all thanks to you. Now I know where the device is somewhere in Colony 9. Melia hugged him tightly.
I can't believe it.
Melia felt a tinge of regret through her happiness. He had been worrying about her. He had been working to save her all this time. She'd been wrong. Chapter 4. It was a room they had always used to replenish Adiva cylinders. Further back was a door that never been opened, though they never could open. Melly stood in front of it.
With the power passed down to me from my royal family, I'll order you to let us pass.
Long ago, this flying machine was controlled by an ancient Hyentia. Whoever had owned it before had left orders for it to accept a new master. Melly was now that master. But the first time in hundreds of years, perhaps thousands, the door opened. The defense system didn't activate. Lay them through into the core. He was there, as Shaw could see in his visions. This is it. I know it. Leonardo nodded. In the center of the room stood the clear capsule, just large enough for a harmless. Connected to it were complex bits of wire and machinery. Edelman's voice shook as he looked at it. This machine, it can really bring Fiora's body back? Yes, it should. I see. Shulk, it seems I have you to thank again. Dummins quickly turned his face away. Shulk remembered from a division that he was hiding his tears.
And I can really...
Fiora whispered. I wanted to believe that, yet not quite believing. Leonardo patted her shoulder.
Yes, your body might be a machine, but you still have parts of your human body. This machine can take the information from your genes to reconstruct your body.
Rick, don't really understand, but this means Fiora will be all squishy. Oh, then she can hug me.
Fiora laughed.
Of course I will.
She said, as she said to Ricky, smiling, but her eyes were filled with shadows.
Are you alright? Is something wrong?
Shala asked.
Yes. Lenata, how long will it take to regenerate my body?
Lenata was fiddling with the machine.
Of course, let me see. I think about half a year would be enough. Half a year?
The shadows in her eyes grew darker. Ryan smiled, touching her arm. Only half a year? Leave it to me. I'll look out for Shulk until we finish this. I promise. Ryan, you really don't have to protect me anymore, Shulk said, embarrassed.
This is the right decision for you to make. Enter the chamber.
Lenata opened the capsule.
Once you go into sleep in here, you'll wake up in half a year as good as new.
Fiora laid her hands on her chest and smiled.
No, I can't go in there yet.
Shulk and Fiora looked down on Colony 9 from the ledge that led into Tefra Cave. Are you sure this is what you want?
You keep asking me that, but then you're always like this.
Shulk was worried. She knew he was. But Fiora felt as though a great weight had been lifted from her heart. Going into the chamber was something now would just have to wait. She couldn't do it now. If she started the regeneration, she would be asleep for half a year. But God wouldn't wait nearly so long. The life on a giant god might be wiped out by the Telethia. They had to defeat the god. Defeat Sansa. If Fiora were to go into the chamber, she wouldn't be able to fight with them.
I'm sorry, but I'm not changing my mind. I must use this body I have now to fight with you. I can change back afterward. I told you. I don't want to stay behind just to worry about you. I'd rather fight beside you.
Leonardo was in turmoil. They didn't know how long the fight would last. She might not be able to hold on to her body, having lost the Leonardo. She explained it to Fiora, but she showed no sign of changing her mind. Leonardo sighed, resigning.
If that's what you want, then I will try to hold on to your body for as long as I can.
Ryan and Dummett stood beside each other, looking down at the cityscape. We'll be back. Before you know it, we'll be back, Ryan said, clapping a big hand on Dummett's shoulder. Oh yes, we'll be back. Then, the fighting will be over. And Fiora will have her old body back. And all of us will live here, in peace. Shulk nodded. This is our home. Of course we'll be back. And so they left, walking through the caves to get to Gua Plain. Behind them lay Colony 9, their one and only home. as it has always been. In summary, this takes place somewhere after Echo's final attack on Bionis, and after Shulk comes back to life. I love this because it gives Bionis an extra bit of world building. This is something that I hope comes back, whether it's in the Definitive Edition. But you know what? I honestly wouldn't mind like a Xenoblade mini-series from this. Like animated or whatnot. I love this. But yeah. Extra bit of world building that you don't see in the game. And you can only assume that after Zanza fell, that was one of the first places that they went. And all during that time, Fiora was asleep. But every race on Bionis came together. I just love that thought. The images in my head, fantastic. Why can't more games have things like this? But I digress. What do you guys think? Did you like this type of reading? I hope you guys learned something from this, at the very least. But yeah, the depths of Xenoblade just go further and further the more you look. And again, I would highly recommend getting, or at least researching, the Monado archives. You might find something special. But on that note, guys, I'm glad Fiora got her body back. It made the ending of the game just that little bit special.
And it gave context to that high Intia ship.
I look forward to more. I don't know, guys. We'll go things there. So, thank you for listening. This has been Lightless Reads. So, thank you all for watching. If you like this content, be sure to like it. And if you want to subscribe to see more, now we can't promise that we'll always read, but hey, if it's something that you would like to see or listen to more, hey, let us know in the comments. If there's any type of trivia or anything in general that you'd like us to read, let us know. You know, guys, thank you all for your time, and we'll see you next time. And for whatever it's worth, I hope Fiora had a good sleep. See you next time, guys.